When I had started, I had sold all my assets. Government work requires a lot of rules, process, boundary conditions. In private, you have a huge degree of freedom. At that time, you did not have so many VCs. Startup founders were not glamorized. It was not one of the career options that people were looking for. If in the campus, if you said that you wanted to start your own, the takeaway was that you did not get a job.
Welcome back to another episode of Jan Man Gan. I am Bhumika Vyas, and today we have joined by someone who has built across fashion, finance and future of small businesses in India. Praveen Sinha sir, who was the co-founder of Jabong, a platform, a brand that once changed how India shopped online. And now he is leading PinCap, a company that helps small businesses to grow by supporting them fastest financially. Now, sir, thanks for coming and joining with us. Our very first question is, you scaled Jabong from zero to one of the India's top fashion platform in just 1 year. That kind of execution is rare. So can you tell our audience what was your strategy, or there was just that hunger?
I think it's a combination of multiple aspects. So hunger was definitely one aspect of it, because you need very driven team to achieve such kind of growth. Thankfully, we were able to create a very strong team, very diverse team. So it was not alone my hunger, but hunger of my team, as well as they wanted to establish and achieve something which was not done earlier. So I think that brought all of us together, and we were able to create and scale a business which at that time we did not know that it can grow rapidly. Though we had done our initial assessment in terms of internet penetration and the way customers were growing online. However, we had no reference points to know how it will grow in India. And the last part I would say is we became one of the case studies globally in terms of ramp up, the kind of growth and scale we were able to achieve. Many other countries faced challenges doing it. So some of the global companies actually visited us, and the reason and the common bottleneck what they said was, when marketing starts working, so let's say if you are on TV channel as an or you have telecasted an advertisement, it has worked, then number of consumers will start accelerating rapidly. If you are doing it digitally, let's say on Meta, Google, etc., you have a handle where you can reduce the budget and the next day the number of orders or the volume decreases. But if you are live on TV, radio, etc., there is no way you can stop, because those brand awareness has been created. The data is not immediate. For example, you are airing it today, the customers will not start increasing immediately. So when we started scaling, in other countries what happened was operations and supply chain became the bottleneck. So if you see the back end of e-commerce, there is a warehousing, there is a third party delivery, then there are customer coordination or information which comes as a call to the call center. So multiple level or layers where you need a lot of manpower, and the way we are able to handle it is to create a very modular design. I will not go into the details, but it became a very relevant case study for many other countries to replicate and copy. And whenever we meet with our older team, because many of us have spread out and they are doing really well in their career, some of them have settled abroad and handling CXO roles, but whenever we meet, we always have very cherished memories that something that we created is now seen and replicated in some of the best brands known globally to establish e-commerce. But some platforms like order fulfillment and back-end integrations were replicated in many of these companies. So it's a sense of accomplishment, not only for me, but I think overall team. And to conclude, the timing was also supporting us in terms of internet growth.
Right.
So a very long answer to your short question.
Right person at the right time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, sir, Jabong has set the industry benchmarks like in delivery, in customer experience, same day delivery, GPS,
Yeah.
and also that open box return system
Correct.
before anyone else.
Right.
That kind of foresight at that time, how it was, sir? So, you had some kind of data with you, or it was just about your all guts?
So this, most of the examples that you shared was mainly driven by instinct, and thankfully we were able to establish a lot of this initiative, which became a standard. The same day delivery, if you remember, it was later used by many of the competitors on the television advertisement, which we had rolled out somewhere in 2012, and it was getting replicated and advertised in 2015. And if we reflect back, it was a big challenge because it was not done earlier. And I'll just share a small story how we did it, because when we discussed with our team that we want to do same day delivery, one, and second was open box delivery. So same day delivery, most of the industry veterans who were from supply chain, they said it cannot be done. And then we created a fresh team who did not know that it cannot be done. and then we created a process, and we said just follow the process, and then it was done. So it was more like when the order comes, how much time does it take to pick, pack, dispatch, and then how frequently a delivery guy will come. If it is within Delhi NCR, where is the warehouse? If it is outside, so a lot of such complications were there, but we were able to handle it. And in open box, we had a different level of challenge, because they said in packed boxes we have pilferage, theft. So if you do open box, then you will not be able to control. Having said that, I think when passionate people with open mind come together, and then they try to solve what can go wrong, and then with that design they go to the market, and still some things will go wrong, but then they keep working and refining the issues that have emerged. Solutions are there, and that diligence pays off, because then wherever you go, for example, after so many years, the questions that you're asking, we had done it like few years back, and why is it still relevant? Because it captured someone's memories or someone's impression, because it was the first time, and many people thought it could not be done. So broadly, I think it was mainly instinct, driven by customer insight, I would say. As a consumer, for example, if I talk to you, you would say, if I would have been delivered this same day, or if I could have seen the product, I could have returned then and there, or used it then and there. Now those concepts are today called quick commerce. Same day delivery has become now 15 minutes delivery. But I think the human nature and the design stays the same. So someone realized that if I do it quickly, it's like having your own staff and delivering it instantaneously. And that's a very large market. However, my sense is viability is a big challenge there. But broadly, it was a great success, both open box and same day delivery.
Yes, true that. So, for someone who is hearing PinCap for the first time, like what PinCap do and how they are helping the small businesses in India, can you tell our audience more about it?
Sure. So I think Jabong is a B2C brand, so most of the people would know. Whenever you touch retail consumers, your brand awareness by design is very high, because whoever buys the product, they will know, and surrounding people will also know. PinCap, one, is not such a large brand in itself, but second, it's also B2B. It gives loan to businesses, and it gives loan which helps smaller businesses to grow. Now, if you see the Indian economy, and the reason I'm raising it is what triggered us to do or start PinCap. If you see the Indian economy, it is growing, but it can accelerate even further if there is a capital infused to the right set of SMEs who are performing. If you just analyze the global market, most of the developed countries have off balance sheet funding. For example, if I have bought something from another business and there is a payment cycle of 90 days, the ecosystem has so much trust in that contract that any third person will buy that at a discount. Because you give me 2-3% discount, I'll buy it, I'll make 3% in 2-3 months or 5% in 2-3 months, and you get your capital. So it flourishes. India has been lagging in this, and lagging with huge margin, I would say, because one, contract is not respected. Second, the payment tenure, if it is 40 days, generally it takes 120 days. If you have followed this in the market, a lot of good initiatives were started by government, but it's such a large problem that it was not solved. So for example, there was one platform that was created where people can sell their invoices, but it has not been able to scale to all the companies. AAA rated, AA have done it, but not all. Then second, recently government initiated that if SME, MSME bills are not paid, then you cannot book the expense, so that there is some pressure on all the parties to pay on time. Now once that discipline is established, you will see huge growth in the market. Till that time, NBFCs are trying to support in terms of SME funding. We had applied for the license which I was talking about, factoring and invoice discounting, which we were able to get. And we were of the view that this will get solved and it will scale, but it has not yet been fully solved. So one, we are waiting when it gets fully solved, then it's a huge opportunity both for us but for the country as well. And second is, till that time, how do we keep providing loan for growth? For example, I'll just give an example, since your starting conversation was on Jabong. So let's say there is a seller on Jabong who sells product, fashion apparel, and after 45 days he gets payment. So let's say he has sold a product worth 50 lakhs. Now 50 lakh of product he has sold and he is getting money after, let's say, 60 days. Now to sell again 50 lakh product, he has to buy. So he will, by the time the money comes, he needs another 50 lakhs so that he can continue. What happens, because these products are sold, so if someone can give that money right there, he will be able to grow at least twice immediately. So if an NBFC comes and ring fences this, for example, it says that whatever 50 lakh payment has come, it will come into an escrow account, and for that and some risk mitigation, I'll pay you 40 lakhs right now, so that you buy and you keep growing. Again with this 40 lakhs he buys, and again this comes to escrow account, so he gets a fodder for his growth. NBFC or the bank is protected because the cash is there, so there is no default. But such structures were created, and this helped to unplug some of the contractual doubt that invoice payment has in India. So that's one aspect of MSME. And I know to some of the audience might be boring, because from fashion to finance is a very different subject, but just getting into slight details. So in the economy, many businesses have reduced growth because of this capital involvement, and PinCap tries to play a role there in terms of enabling those businesses, which comes with an inherent risk of default. So how do we protect that default while enabling those growth?
So sir, if any person who is not having any credit history, is PinCap going to fund that? Why a person should approach PinCap?
So I think answer cannot be a blanket answer to this. And the reason I am saying is, if there is no credit history, chances are that none of the financial institute will fund. Chances are. Now with that constraint, if it is, let's say, project finance, it has to be seen through a very different lens, because it's a project. Now there are a lot of schemes from government also for some employment driven investment. For example, you want to set up a machine for certain aspects and you have businesses, then government has sponsored and provides credit guarantee where banks can come and provide the loan. But the general rule is that they should have a 3-year history of finance and they should show how will they fulfill the loan. For example, 3 factors if it gets solved and with confidence, then of course without credit history it can be given. But is it a standardized product? No. So what are those 3 things? One, whatever the loan amount is sanctioned, how will that business service its principal and interest? If there is a confidence that the cash flow will be sufficient to fulfill the loan liabilities. Second is the market risk. For example, the tenure of the loan and the visibility of our cash flow. And the third is willingness to pay. So sometimes what happens is, though there is a cash flow, the promoter has different interest of using that amount. Instead of paying, it gets utilized somewhere and it gets defaulted. So though the ability is there, willingness is not there. And our system generally takes much more time to recover that. So if you see check bounces, section 138 cases, it takes quite long. So it generally helps willful defaulters because they get credit without much of a cost. So those things has to be looked into, and if those are solved, then of course it can be given, but that's not the standard. For us, if your question is on how do we differentiate, so I think the layer of differentiation is not a very strong delta. It's an incremental delta, and one is in terms of we are innovative in terms of creating digital framework and ring fencing, and second is we are open to the new ideas without compromising conventional wisdom. Banking has a knowledge base of 100 of years. So when we came for the first time and we thought we'll solve everything through technology, I think that is not very wise. The wisdom of the bank should also be incorporated while using technology. So that's the realization. So we also don't want to run very fast in this domain because there are a lot of learnings here, and wisdom of the bank, experience and the vision of the regulatory authorities like RBI has a well thought reason and a rationale. So while experimenting, we should be aware of that, respectful towards that, and also try to implement the experience and wisdom of the banks. For example, one of the areas we thought that can we do dissection of the banking data and figure out that whoever was not given loan, if you would have given, it was still profitable. So there were definitely insights, but the takeaway was also that the efficiencies that can be created with such tech is not super significant. Tech can be used to improve TAT service level and information to arrest fraud, but credit wisdom is definitely a very strong forte for banks, and new digital footprint will take us more time to realize how to use for credit. Though we are, and a lot of companies are doing it, but I don't think there has been a super successful model which says that alternative data has proven a track record and you can with confidence say what will be the NPA percentage.
You have spoken about selling your car for funding your first venture. Nowadays, it's all about pitch decks, VCs, and this kind of hustle is this hustle still works or the ecosystem has changed?
I think it has changed, but there are still entrepreneurs and founders who sell their stuff. But I think the change is that at that time you did not have so many VCs. startup founders were not glamorized. It was not one of the career option that people were looking for.
Agree.
In fact, at that time, if in the campus, if you said that you wanted to start your own, the takeaway was that you did not get a job. So, so it was not a very looked or sought after career choice. To your next question, whether it happens now, I think the need to do it has significantly reduced. Why? Because there are too many micro VCs, angel investors. And the good part is a lot of government initiatives, a lot of public sector companies have a startup fund. IITs, IIMs, GTUs, a lot of colleges have incubators. They have a small fund, not only on equity, they give grants. So overall, the ecosystem has been working towards creating a culture of entrepreneurs, which is amazing. Because see, if you have that, similar to civil services, IIT, medicine, there was a culture of stability, and hence most of the sought after jobs or talent used to go in that direction. So once you make this also as one of the option, it's a very good direction, because it will not only create wealth or opportunities for the founders, but also for many others. So it's a good direction. However, there was some value system mismatch in between, where people, instead of creating value, started creating valuations.
Yeah.
So rather than saying I want to build this, the conversation was that after 6 months my value will double. Why is a different question. What I'll build was never discussed.
Yes.
Today if I'm 1 million, tomorrow I'll be 2 million. Instead of saying today I have built this with 3 features, after a year it will have 8 features. Those were not the conversation. So I think those are collateral for me, because at least everyone has started working. But now if everyone starts talking about valuation and no one is talking about value creation, then some way it will fail. But the market actually plays out. So the wave actually started settling down. So now in a phase I see a mix. I won't say it's totally one-sided anymore. Few years back it was totally, most of the startups were looking, because that was the culture of the ecosystem, that how will my valuation increase. And we had a word also that time being used was, is he a real entrepreneur or is he a tourist entrepreneur? He has come for a vacation and he'll probably go. So because funding was also easy, so nothing to lose. But you have to see both the sides. Why both the sides? Because if it had not happened, not so many people would have taken it as a career option. So we cannot say it was wrong. I think that was part of the evolution and it had to happen. And this needs to be the future as well, where the percentage of startups creating real products, real solutions, focusing on value creation, and then also few startups who have value but also working on valuation. Because valuation is an amplification of value creation. If you have created something which is worth 10, if it gets amplified to 100, it should not hurt. But if there is no value and it's getting amplified, then it hurts. And not only startups, if you go to any market, share market, real estate market also happens and grows that way. So from that perspective, if someone wants to start their own, there are enough opportunities for them to get the support, not only in terms of funding, mentorship, incubators, experience. For example, when I had started, how many startups or founders could I have reached out? Now, if someone who wants to start today, he has so many founders who can become mentors. So the whole ecosystem is changing in a very positive direction. My wish list would be that we started more like a global followers. Even our Jabong, which was a fashion e-commerce, was not the first in the world. We had ASOS, we had Zappos, we had Zalando. So now the current set of founders should also start thinking of disrupting in terms of being the first globally. And some of the founders I have met, they have already started moving in that direction. For example, and I see a lot of government support as well. There is a program called where you have competition and hackathons and government sponsored competition where space tech,
Yes.
IDEX, it's called IDEX. Railway has open problem challenges where what they say is this is the problem statement, whoever wins and what the capital is required, 50% will be given by them, 50% this. So, and then if you build the product, we are the clients.
Yes.
Amazing concept, you know, and some of the problems are of global nature if you can crack it. Even in AI, we see such opportunities. In fact, we have co-founded a company 5 years back when ChatGPT was not this popular publicly. So, but we saw the direction and we were one of the first who started.
Okay.
Now, one of our friends who was my founder in a company called Aquabrem, they started a chip company based out of Bangalore. Again, first in India where radar and cameras were getting integrated. They got acquired by a Japanese company, but first to start. So I think we'll have our mixes of success and failures, but the trend needs to be established. Now people should feel confident that I can think global, I can implement global. The way at least we see many such ideas coming from US and China. So number of starters, India is already there. Now in terms of breaking the market and creating a global product, I think we have huge opportunities there, and mindset shift has already happened. So with proper support, I strongly feel it can be done.
Yes. Agreed, sir. So personally, from my background, I have switched from government to private, and it was quite challenging for me. So you have transitioned across industries, like from auto to e-com and now fintech. Like, what do you want to say to people who are like who wants to take a leap but who are unsure or are stuck?
So first of all, I'll congratulate you that you were able to do it. I think the first problem or the first challenge is to manage your parents. So
Absolutely true.
Because leaving a government job and probably where the mindset was it's such a safe place to be in.
Stable.
Why would you do that? So I think there are 3-4 aspects that I like to filter. I think from an ecosystem of family and parents, my decision making is built on the assumption that if you are not happy, anyone who loves you cannot be happy if you are sad. So, so if my happiness is important and if my decision is in the right direction, I should take it while not being like a rebel, trying to convince them. For example, my conversation was that you might have made many mistakes. Let me do mine. And as we grow, like with time, if you are right most of the time, I'll start following your instruction. If I am right most of the time, then you let me take my decisions.
Yes.
So thankfully, few of the early decisions went in my favor. So, but I think the point was, without being confrontational, that this is my life, I want to do it, that's right. I'm not saying it's not right. But why don't we take an approach of collaboration and convincing? They will not get convinced. But still take that approach and take that decision if you're convinced that this is what you want to do, number one. Number two, many of times I have seen, and I'm trying to generalize, people driven with passion and people driven with logic. So people driven with logic generally don't take the jump, and people driven with passion takes the jump without thinking. So, so if you can create a balance, so if you're a logical person, have the courage. Advice is have the courage. You cannot solve all the problems, take a probability risk. If you are a believer of God, then leave it on destiny. If you are a follower of science, then take it as a probability. If the probability is more than 60%, 70%, have the confidence and courage to take the jump. And if you are passionate, don't jump. Depends on what age you are taking those risks. Assess your responsibilities and liabilities. Don't get constrained. I'm saying ki, I have so many responsibilities. How will I? Assess it. Find a solution, but still take the jump. So, for example, when I had started, I had sold all my assets, but I was back into my college days. I had a bike again. So I think if you are determined to do that, all those constraints needs to be solved or managed. You cannot come and tell yourself after 10 years that because of that I did not do it. You should come and tell, despite having that problem, I did it. So how do you change your conversation with yourself? One is, I cannot do it because of this and that. Second is, I did it despite having this problem. Just change the conversation with yourself and you will find a solution, you will find the courage. This I don't need to tell a passionate person because they jump anyways. So to them I have a very different approach. Wait, hold, have you thought of it? So broadly, I think transition becomes easy. And last to this advice, for example, shifting from government, you will be driven, you would have a call, you liked something, you knew you wanted to do it. So definitely it should be done. For me, what I'd also say that self-reflection. I am able to do multiple things because it is my nature and I enjoy doing things which has not been done. I have a business in water management automation, I have business in IoT, I have, as I shared, in AI. We also have a media company, we do digital marketing, performance marketing. So it's all diverse because I get interested in newer ideas, I like going deep, I love creating a right team. The reason I am able to do too many things is the right team is there in everywhere. Everywhere there is either someone like me who is very passionate or logical. And not everyone will enjoy doing what I am doing. So you first reflect on yourself that you might be one domain person. Like the story that I shared for my co-founder friend who started a electronic company. He is deep into electronics. If I tell him to think about something else, he can't. He does not want to and he can't. So I always say to him that you're like a linear straight line. I will draw, you'll just keep walking in that line. I like to go sideways, see the nature, see the... So I think first reflect on yourself and then decide really you want to do too many things or you're happy with one, then you don't need to change and you don't need to worry about transition. For you, I think it must be very tricky. But for me, what I realized, which I had thought, was this is going to be a fun journey. You keep meeting interesting people, you keep creating a lot of things with interesting people. You get a sense of accomplishment because you are solving problems for many people and at a scale. I'm not talking about fashion, that's a need, but solving some of the areas that we work, we solve problems, real problems in there. I'm not saying fashion is bad, but I'm saying it's a need, like looking glamorous is also someone's need. So I think it's very fulfilling and satisfying. And if you can create the right set of people, ecosystem and team, the journey becomes even more enjoyable.
Yes, true that. So thank you so much, sir, for coming and for joining and for giving us time and sharing your whole journey. Thank you so
Bhumika.
much.
Thank you for having me here.